The following story has been brought to you by StoriesToInspire.org.
The Gustininer, Yehoshua Meir Gustininer, was not always Hasidish. He would ultimately become a very famous leader in his own right, but in the beginning he was not Hasidish at all. And in fact, though, he was always a stellar, unbelievable person. And when he first got married, his father-in-law said, such a special son-in-law. He was young, I think he was just 16. And he said, you're such a special son-in-law, I'm getting you special made talis tefillin, extremely special, brand new for you now that you're marrying my daughter. And the Gustininer got these articles and he said, you know what? I'm going to make sure that they stay so holy. I'm not going to have a stray thought in them. And he used to sit there. He used to daven early in the morning and then learn in his talis and tefillin for hours. Then he would take them off, continue learning for hours. An extremely elevated, unbelievable individual. Well, one day, he's sitting there hours into his early started day, and he's sitting there learning, and all of a sudden the doors to his shtibel, his little shul, open, and in walks in a Kutzker chassid. Kutzk, you know what they say? Sharf. Kurz and sharf, short and to the point. They were tremendous seekers of truth and emes. And the Kutzker Chassid comes in and he walks over to Rabbi Yehoshua Meir and he says to him, can I borrow your tefillin and talis for Shacharis? And Rabbi Yehoshua Meir says, hours, I finished Shacharis hours and hours ago. You claim you're a Kutzker Chassid? You're hours after me, and you want to borrow them for davening? I mean, I care so much to keep these things pristine. How could I lend them to you? And the chassid was unfazed and just stared at him with his penetrating eyes and said, I didn't ask you for your opinion. I just asked you if you'll lend them to me. If not, that's okay. You don't have to. I'll borrow from someone else. Oh, the Gustininer is thinking, hey, a Jew asks you for your talis and tefillin. Probably the right thing to give them to him. So he gives him the talis and tefillin. Hesitantly, because he treats them so holy, he gives them to him. And he thinks to himself, well, listen, I know that in Kutzk they know how to daven. At least I'll get to see a Kutzker chassid daven. And the fellow, he watches, and the fellow puts on the talis and tefillin. But then, to Rabbi Yehoshua Meir's shock and dismay, he marches over to the window, overlooking the market, and he sits there staring out the window for an hour. Rabbi Yehoshua Meir is petrified. What's happening to my holy tefillin and my holy talis? Why did I lend it to this guy? Oh, he's destroying it. He can't. He's in anguish. Suddenly, after an hour, the chassid runs over to the orain, to the pareiches, to the curtain, buries his face in the curtain, and Rabbi Yehoshua Meir says, oh, finally, here we go, I'm ready. 5 minutes, and the guy pulls his face out of the curtain, and he's done. That's it. Rabbi Yehoshua Meir could not handle it anymore. Chutzpah, the audacity. You borrowed my stuff late. You sat there looking out the window. That's what you call davening. Get off of my stuff. And he jumps up and he runs over to the chassid and he grabs the talis to yank it off him. And he grabs it, and the second he grabs it, he feels it is soaking wet with tears. It's soaked with tears. And he freezes, and he takes his hands off, and he says to the chassid, I'm so sorry. I did not realize that you were davening like that. But I'm confused. What were you doing the whole time? The chassid said, come here. Come. Look out the window with me. And they looked over the market. And there down in the square were the Cossack soldiers. And they were undergoing a drill. And the officer was saying, right, left. They were doing drills. And the Kutzker chassid turned to the Gustininer and said, look at that. to know them a pack of drunkards. They're drunkards. The officer in charge of them is a bigger drunkard. Their general's an even bigger drunkard. He said, but look, the officer says left, they go left. He says right, they go right. And I'm watching this, and you agree, right? You agree, Rabbi Chio Meir, that if the officer would say go left, they go left. If he says they go right, they go right. And that if the officer would say go left, any of the soldiers would suffer bodily harm before he went right. Am I correct? I said, yeah, you're right. Even though he's a drunkard, they're all drunkard. Yeah, you're right. He said, and you agree that if their general came and told them to go left, they would rather be killed in battle than go right. Am I correct? Even though he's a bigger drunk. Yeah, you're correct. He said, and if the Tsar, who's a bigger drunkard than them all, would come and say, go left, you agree, right? That these soldiers would sooner kill themselves before going right if the Tsar said go left. He said, you're right. He said, so I'm sitting here for an hour and I'm looking out the window. And I'm asking myself, if that's what I'm seeing, so how is it that I, who was by Har Sinai, and I heard from the Melech Malchei Amlochim, the King of Kings, and the King of Kings, the greatest King in the world, said to me, go left, and I'm asking myself, how can it be that I'm going right? If these Cossacks won't do it, how could it be that Hashem told me which direction to go? And I'm going the other way. He said, and with that feeling, I ran and davened. The Gustanina Rebbe Chio Meir turned to him and said, Holy Jude, teach me. I never want my talis to be dry again. How do I daven? He said, come with me to Kutsk and we'll learn how to daven. And that's where he went. There is davening, and it's deep, and it's powerful, and it's emotional, and it matters. And this chassid and this story shows us that what you think before you daven, the time we take to reconnect with Hashem and ourselves and our emotions, gives us the ability to daven in a way where we can really daven something different, something greater, something more than just staying in the basement.
Enjoyed this story? Come again. Bring a friend. StoriesToInspire.org